Hey all, I'm Tanya from Cloud Business Services, where we help small business owners streamline their operations and make smarter financial decisions. Welcome to AI in Action, our new series where each week I'll be breaking down practical AI tools and strategies that you can actually use in your business. No tech degree required. Today, we're going to cover in general some topics and some of the AI tools that I use and what I feel that they're best for. All right, let's just dive in. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, perfect. So I've got across the top the five that I'm using and working with. You'll notice I'm not working with Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot. We are mostly Microsoft. We do use Google for some things, but I've chosen not to get in and work with those. I'm using kind of the other more basic ones that are out there. I'm not comfortable with tools accessing my emails yet. Not really willing to go there. I'm very hesitant with AI, but I'm embracing it. I want to use this. I want to be able to help other business owners see how it's not going to replace us, replace certain businesses in my field, replace accountants and bookkeepers. It is going to enhance what we do and allow us to do our job more. And there are so many ways that small business owners can use this for, to expand their businesses as well. I actually do speak on AI and have for the past year at accounting conferences. I've been invited next spring to actually go and speak to a educators conference as well, completely out of the industry on AI, which is really cool. But so what I've done here is I've got the top five that I've been using. There are many more right there, but again, these are the main ones. So what I've done is I have first off asked it, I'm just going to grab the other chat. Here we go. So this is the first chat that I put in is what does ChatGPT do better than Perplexity, Sintra.ai, Claude.ai, and Notebook.lm? Because these are the five that I use. So you'll see here what ChatGPT tends to do better: conversational depth and creativity. There's a feature-rich ecosystem, all-rounder versatility. You want to be really careful. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily pull real-time current information, and sometimes it's not pulling proper information. It does not do well in very long conversations or very long documents. It's almost like it's got ADHD. I can certainly relate because I have that too. So you want to take a look at that. There are some free features. Definitely that you can go. I have the paid version in all of these because that's what I'm working with. So, what I find ChatGPT is best with is for this creativeness, and it helps me pull my thoughts together. It has an interactive mode here where I can speak to it and it can speak back to me. So, it's great if I'm bouncing ideas off it, and it's great for me just to, brain dump and say, take those thoughts and put them in logical order. So if I'm creating an email that might be difficult, I'm having a difficult time with it. If anything that I'm doing, with content that's something that I'm having difficulty wording it, or I want to make sure that I'm, not talking too high level or too low level or whatnot, it can help with that. So, which is great. Now, we've got this here. This is Sintra.ai right at the top. There we have it. And Sintra.ai is great for creative. It's great for marketing. It's great for everything. So we take a look here. This was actually the first to have little agents. It's funny. Some people in the circles call them little astronauts. They're like, what was that little astronaut AI app again? And so I've been using Sintra the second most longest. So I've been using ChatGPT about 4 years. So it was still in beta when I started using it. Shortly after, I started using Sintra. So Sintra has had these 12 little agents or helpers out since the beginning. And so each one of them in the back end has already been given its own personality and its own strengths. So whereas ChatGPT, you have to say, put on your marketing hat, be a marketing expert, pretend you're a marketer with 5 years experience in this industry to get your best results. Here, you just type in what you want and it's automatically going to take you there. So what I did is just at the beginning here to go back, we've got a chat that I worked with. And we've just put in here, give me an opening intro to my AI in action series. That's it. I didn't put a lot, but again, I've already been working with AI, a little bit. It knows what my AI in action series is about because I did use this to help me determine my opening and my closing speeches and how to best market it and so on. So we've got this here, and here's what it's come back with. It's come back with one option. It says it's written in your natural tone, which it is very close to my natural tone. Confident, conversational, community minded, which is great. It already knows that about me. But it's funny, you see this here, but here's the truth. That is commonly used for ChatGPT. So if you see that a lot in somebody's posts or whatnot, you're using ChatGPT a lot. So if you don't want everybody to know you're using it, take that out or tell it in the back end. Don't use, but here's the truth, because that's commonly repeated for everybody. So you can see here that it's got that. And, it's asked a follow-up question here. Do you want this towards my bootcamp audience? Because I do have another side where I actually coach accounting professionals. This in particular is for small business owners though. So things are slightly changed for each of them, but it's asked me, which community do you want to do this for? When I go into Sintra and I give it the same thing, which I already did, it came up with Penn, who is my copywriter. It said, no, this is writing. Copywriting is going to be best for this. So this is what it did. You can see here, I put in the exact same wording. It says, great, I'll create a compelling opening for your intro for your AI in action. It matches your conversational, engaging style and positions you as the tech forward industry leader that you are. It created a document, which is really interesting that it went that extra step. And it gave me 4 different versions. As it was working, I did see it here on the left side that it worked. It says it's leaning towards option 1 or 2 because it's a little more authentic, which which resonates with me the most. So we take a look here and you go through. Now, I also want to point out, hey there. If you see hey there a lot, that is AI as well, because AI frequently starts with hey there. That's a chat GPT and a Sintra thing. But you can take a look here and you can see there's that. Here, this one is telling me it's direct and value focused. This one is story driven and personal. And this one is injury focused and authoritative. So, it gives me the recommended choice. Here's the options. Here's why. So you can already see there's a difference. And I gave it the same thing. ChatGPT has known me longer and I've worked with it more. But one thing that Sintra does is it will ask you questions every single day. It'll ask you 12 questions a day when you go in there so that it will get to know you and the tone that you want. And I like that it's getting to know me. And yeah, so that's really cool. So I've been using this for about 3.5 years, maybe a little bit longer. So those are the 2 tools that I'm using for working on the business. I use those for writing. I use those to help me with my website, anything like that. Again, working on the business, helping me form emails. Again, something like that with the wording. Perplexity is what I like to use when I'm doing research. So I put in the same first question. What does Perplexity do better? And yes, I've got some spelling errors in here. I work with numbers, not letters. So please don't worry about that. But all of the AI knows what I mean. It speaks, it speaks people who don't spell properly, which is great. So what does it do better than ChatGPT, Sintra, Claude, or Notebook? So it says here it doesn't know much about Sintra, but it's given that. Where is it? Oh, well, look at that. It actually has added to it. Look at, you know what? I did the last video literally minutes ago to the accounting audience, stopped and did this one, and it's actually changed the answer and gave it more detail. That is very cool because it did say, while though we don't know Sintra that well, it did this and it did not give a table before. Okay, so that is very cool that it automatically updated. So if you're curious, go over to the YouTube channel at Tanya's Bootcamp and you can see what it looked like then because I can't go back and do that. I did not do this again. It is just, it's very cool. Obviously, information changed. And it's interesting because this took the information that I did after I used Sintra for the pen and copywriting. And after I brought in these other ones, it took that and actually changed it. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, so there's a little bit of my ADHD. So anyway, what Perplexity does best is it is for real-time evidence-backed answers with full transparent citations by default, whether you want the free or paid version. The paid version just simply allows you to look at 10 times more resources and you can increase your daily limit. So right now I've not signed in, but I do have the Pro one. But once, you can see here that, I've got 2 enhanced queries remaining today. The Pro one, I've never had it stop me. And I sit here and use AI because I speak on it and I try to break it. I'm using it at least an hour a day in everything that I do. So, what we've got here is, again, it will research. You can see here the sources. So up top are all the sources that it looked into. And then down here, this is where it pulled that from. 3 sources, it pulled that. Here's 2 sources it used to pull this sentence from. 2 sources it used to pull the sentence from. So it is more of a research tool and it goes out in real time. Whereas when ChatGPT first came out, the information in there was not necessarily in real time. And what ChatGPT does, if it can't find the answer, it's almost like it gets lazy and makes it up. It does not like deep research. Whereas Perplexity, this is exactly what it was designed to do. So that is absolutely, what Perplexity, and I've been using Perplexity again shortly after it came out, maybe 2.5, 3 years. Um, so there's that. Then we have something that's extremely different. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but we are going to go into it for other things, but it is one of the main AIs that I used. And so this is where I wanted to still show you and compare the main 5 of what I do. This doesn't mean these are the only ones I'm going to be talking about in the series. There are some other ones that I do. And when we talk about some of the different things that we do on marketing or whatnot, I may bring some of those other ones in at any time, but these are the main 5 that I am in at least several times a week. So Notebook.lm, this is free with Google, and it is actually created for educators and students. So what this does differently is here's some notebooks in there that have been made and shared with people. You can create a new notebook, and here's some of the notebooks that I've created. So what happens is it does not go out. You can see there's no place for me to put a question on here. I can't ask it and have it search the web. It will search only the sources that are put in here. So if I want to, let's just take a look at this one, globalization. Here's all the sources that have been uploaded into this that has been shared. This is not one of mine. This has been shared out for people to use. It is completely public. And here's the documents that's been put up. So you can click on those to actually see what's been put in here, the source guide, where it's from. But you can see I can't add anything. It's a closed room with, so to speak, without a closed notebook. And then here's a quick summary. And here's 26 sources. Here are some questions, and I can type in an answer about this. And then here, it's done this as a document. Here is done it as a video. This here is the podcast. So, here's a quiz on it. Here's flashcards. Here's a mind map. So you can kind of see here, there's different things. I'm going to go into one of my notebooks. However, this is just one that I just did at a conference I was speaking at, just to be able to show somebody. We used a documentation that I received, which is an e-file resource guide. So this is for those who are a member of the e-file Association of Canada, which we are. So what I can do is I can pull up this guide here. It is a PDF, so I can pull a PDF in. I can also link in all of the links to the CRA's Income Tax Act or anything else that I want to do in here because this is for taxes. I can then ask my notes. It is going to use only the resources I've put here. So if I'm adding new resources, so I can go here, just CRA in general. I don't want represent a client, so just CRA. So I can just go and I can grab CRA. Now, what you're going to see is, this is it. I'm going to add the link to this. So it's a website link. So I'm going to paste the URL and I'm going to insert that. So now it's reading it, it's pulling it in. If there's anything else that I want to add, I can add a YouTube video, a website link, I can copy and paste test, or I can upload a PDF, a TXT, markdown audio, which would be an MP3. I can pull all of these sources in here and it will work with this. I can hit discover sources. What are you interested in? So we'll go to Canada Income Tax Act. And it's going to search the web to find resources on that, which is really, really cool. So it can expand what we're looking at, but I still have to select these off. So if I'm looking at this and I'm like, ooh, oh, Thomson Reuters, yeah, you know what? That's not CRA. I don't want that. Oh, this isn't CRA. It's justice, Canada, but I don't want that. I only want things with directly from CRA. So I can look and I can decide which ones that I want to, keep or which ones I don't. So I'm just going to take off all of these. This is done by, an accounting. It's, if I can't verify it. So I'm just going to take all of them out. And we're not going to include any of these. But I can then sit there and I can type in any question, and it is going to give me an answer based on the resources I've given, only if it's in there. So I can say, what is the tax rate? The marginal tax rate. Tax rates for Ontario 2025. Let's just see what it says. Now, I know what it should say. I know what it should come back with. And right here, this is exactly what it should come back with. So it's asking, do I want to explore the federal personal income tax rate, any of that? So we can access this and it's pulling from these sources to be able to get that. So because I know I told it to pull from CRA, I know it's going to be accurate information. Now, what can we do with this? I can turn this into a podcast. So it's a two-person podcast. So if there's changes that I want to listen to, so, most recently the federal budget, if I want to listen to the federal budget changes to see, if I like it, whatever, I can turn it into a podcast and I can listen to it while I'm walking on my treadmill or going for a walk or a bike ride, whatever. I can turn this into an explainer video. I can mind map it. I can create a quiz off it. I can flashcards or I can turn it into reports. Now, the basic reports is you can format your own. I can create a briefing document, a study guide, a blog post, and then here's some suggested, a concept overview, a reference sheet, a client advisory, or a comprehensive guide. So this is really cool. So this is great for students, for teachers, for your own employees or team, maybe your clients, you want to do an FAQ and how we do business, something like that. But this is, again, a closed area, kind of like a Wikipedia, and this is it. This is the only resources they can go to, which is really, really cool for that. So again, we use different things, but I wanted to kind of give you an overview of what that's used for and what the difference is. Now, the one that I've been using the least amount of time, which has literally been a week and a half, is Claude.ai. And you can just see that up here, CLAUD.ai. Now, Claude has only been about a week and a half. It's been out almost as long as ChatGPT. However, I did go in and I did test it and I didn't see a big difference. And, several years ago, I was like, I just want to focus on one. I did not think that Claude was going to take off in the way that it has. Claude has just announced last week that it is going to niche in finance and accounting industry because it is really, really good at what we need it to do. So I'm using Claude for working in the business, and it will tell you here again, here's that first question, what does Claude do better? And it does deep analysis better. So in the 10 days I've used it, I have not been able to break it. I break ChatGPT, Sintra, Perplexity, Notebook. Well, not so much of Perplexity, but yeah, I've kind of broken it. I ask it questions because that's what I do. I push the AI to its maximum so that I can see what the limitations are, so that when I'm talking about it, I can be current and I can let everybody know. So, not Perplexity, Claude is excellent at the deep analysis. It creates documents as it's going. You can see it thinking, so it works great with long context. It will think as you're going through. And you can see it works in Python in the back end, and you can see it. So you can see it thinking, where the other ones, you're like, it's not moving. You just see like a flashing button. What's it doing? You've got that. It does have a longer context window. So sometimes with ChatGPT, you'll find you'll have to keep repeating things in there if you're really going long, which is why ChatGPT, it's best for short items, and that's why they've created projects, which is kind of better for long. It'll remember and look within that internal project folder. This is better with that. So it can handle significantly longer documents and conversations, and it does give a really good thoughtful analysis. It creates files automatically. Um, and safety here, it's better at maintaining safety. And I will say that something just came out earlier this week saying that right now, when you look at all of them, Claude and Google through Gemini are the two that have the highest safety and most concerned about safety. One thing we need to know when we're using the AI is keep in mind, are we being safe with the information we're putting in here? Even if you have a paid account and even if you have turned off in your settings to not share, there can still be a data breach. If I upload a financial report with your company's name on it and there's a data breach and they turn around and put that out and you're just about to hit the stock market and somebody sees something on there that they don't like, and you didn't want that share to the public, you only want that share to investors, or you're just about to get a big loan, maybe you're not hitting the stock market, you're just getting a loan, anything, or maybe your neighbor sees it, it does not matter, you don't want that information out there. So we need to make sure that the information is safe, that the information is secure. If I upload that and I have the settings to not share it, that's great. It won't share it to learn it. But like anything on the internet, when it's out there, it's out there. So it will stay here in the back end. Um, it's right now, um, they're not trashing, for lack of a better word, the information in there. It is staying in there to continue to learn. So I can say, hey, do you remember I uploaded something 3 months ago? So if I upload something to here and it's in my secure one because I'm paying for it, I'm, paying for the business, all of this stuff, that's great. Chances are it's going to be safe. Now, what you need to be worried about is the security of the information. Where's it being stored? Is it PIPEDA compliant? That is where we should not upload any client identifying information. So if I take off everything and I just upload financials, have no idea whose financials it is, there's no client identifying information, and I say, go ahead and analyze this for me, that's great. It's going to give me an analysis. I have not put anything in there. Now, what will happen is why we still need to be careful of this, even if we've got paid account, is if this is hacked. Think about how many times you've gone out and used your credit card at some place that is supposed to be safe, and then it is hacked. And then you get something, oh, there was a breach. I'm sorry. Here's a new credit card number. Breaches have happened, even in AI with these, they have happened. And then what happens is all of that information was in there, has a potential to now be in the hands of somebody who you don't know what they're going to do with it. So this is why no matter what, we always need to do that, because you know what? Are we covered? Does our insurance cover if we upload client identifying information in here and we breach PIPEDA? You'll just have to look at that. That's Canada. The US has its own. I'm Canadian, so I will use more Canadian terms. So just keep that in mind. And of course, Notebook.lm. It says it works better using the source grounded resource, which is exactly what I've showed you. So there are the five main ones that I'm going to talk about through the series. We're going to get into how you can use these to rebuild your website to help build emails for blogging, but still using your own authentic voice and not just by telling it to mimic your authentic voice. I'm going to tell you all the tips of the trades that I use it for and how it can help you in your business to be strategic instead of replace any part of what you're doing. All right, so I'm going to stop screen sharing now. And yeah, so that's it. That's, an overview of the AI that we're going to put to work in your business. Small changes will make big impact. So, if you like what you've seen, subscribe or like for your weekly tips, or share this with another business owner who could use the help, or maybe our AI curious. Let's make running a business a little easier for everybody. Now, do you need bookkeeping help, payroll help, or some profit coaching support? That's what we offer. So check out our services at cloudbusinessservices.ca, or, book a call to see if we're the right fit. Until next time, keep moving forward. And remember, you don't have to figure it out all alone. This is Tanya signing off. See you next week.